After 141 years, lying beneath cold, silent earth, a zinc coffin is opened. The air is heavy. Priests stand motionless. Doctors lean forward in disbelief. And then, a gas spreads through the room. Inside lies a woman, not bones, not dust, not decay, but a body as peaceful as if she were merely asleep. Her skin remains supple. Her lips still carry a faint trace of rose. Her hands, delicate and unmoving, clasp a rosary with quiet devotion, as though she had only just finished whispering a prayer. This was no modern preservation, no embalmer's craft. It was something the world struggled to explain. One of the most profound physical mysteries in the history of the Catholic Church, the incorrupt body of Saint Bernadette Soubirous. Yet behind this silent glory was a beginning no one would have imagined. She was not born into greatness. She was born into poverty, so severe that even hope seemed scarce. The year was 1858. The place, Lourdes, a small town in southern France. Winter pressed hard against the stone walls of a former prison cell known as Le Cachot. This damp, foul-smelling room was home to 6 souls. The Soubirous family had lost everything after financial ruin. What remained was sickness, hunger, and shame. Bernadette, 14 years old, was the eldest child. She suffered from chronic asthma. Each breath scraped painfully through her chest. She was uneducated, illiterate, often considered slow in her catechism lessons. To the world, she was insignificant, but heaven saw differently. On the morning of February 11th, the cold bit deeper than usual. There was no firewood left. Bernadette, her sister Toinette, and a friend walked toward the banks of the Gave de Pau River to gather branches. They stopped near a place called the Grotto of Massabielle. It was not holy ground then. It was a dirty hollow in the rock. Trash lay scattered. Pigs grazed nearby. Her companions quickly removed their shoes to cross the icy stream. Bernadette hesitated. The cold water could trigger a violent asthma attack. She lingered on the shore, and then a sound, like a sudden gust of wind. Yet the trees did not move. A second rush of air followed, stronger, sacred. Bernadette looked toward a niche in the rock, and there, light, soft, gentle, not blinding like the sun, but pure. Within that light stood a lady, dressed in white as fresh snow, a sky-blue sash wrapped gracefully around her waist. Golden roses rested upon her feet. She said nothing, but her gaze was mercy itself. Fear seized Bernadette. Was this a demon? With trembling fingers, she reached for her rosary. She tried to make the sign of the cross, but her hand would not move. Then the lady smiled, a mother's smile. She raised her own rosary of gold. Slowly, reverently, she made the sign of the cross. Only then could Bernadette move. She began to pray, Hail Mary, after Hail Mary. The lady listened in silence. When the prayer ended, the vision faded. Bernadette stood alone beside the cold stream. Yet when she stepped into the water, something strange happened. It no longer felt freezing. It felt warm. The secret did not remain hidden for long. Lourdes buzzed with rumors. Her mother struck her in fear of scandal. Her father forbade her return, but something stronger than fear called her back. She returned with holy water, determined to test the apparition. If it were evil, it would flee. She sprinkled the water toward the niche. The lady did not disappear. She smiled, and Bernadette fell into ecstasy. Her face shone with unearthly joy. A large rock tumbled from above. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Yet she did not flinch. Her eyes remained fixed on something unseen, as though heaven had opened before her. On February 18th, the lady finally spoke, not in elegant French, but in the simple dialect of the poor. "Would you have the goodness to come here for 15 days? The words were gentle, respectful, addressed to a girl the world called ignorant. Then came the promise, "I do not promise to make you happy in this world, but in the next." Crowds grew, thousands gathered, authorities grew uneasy. Commissioner Jacomet interrogated her, threatened her, accused her of lies. Bernadette remained calm. "You can imprison my body," she said softly, "but not the truth." On February 25th came a strange command. "Go drink at the spring and wash yourself there." There was no spring, only mud. Bernadette knelt. She dug with her bare hands. Her nails broke. Her fingers bled. She drank the muddy water. She smeared dirt upon her face. The crowd recoiled. "She is mad." But from that dark hole, water began to flow, slowly, then steadily, clear, pure. The spring of Lourdes was born. Miracles followed. A blind stonecutter washed his eye and saw. A paralyzed hand touched the water and moved. Hope flooded the town. On March 25th, the feast of the Annunciation, Bernadette asked once more, "Lady, what is your name?" The lady joined her hands, lifted her eyes to heaven, and spoke, "I am the Immaculate Conception." Bernadette did not understand the phrase, yet she repeated it faithfully to her parish priest. He trembled, for this was a theological truth proclaimed only 4 years earlier by Pope Pius IX. How could this poor, illiterate child have known? Years later, Bernadette left Lourdes. She entered the Sisters of Charity in Nevers. She desired obscurity. "I am like a broom," she said. "When the work is done, the broom is put behind the door." She suffered terribly. Bone tuberculosis consumed her body. Asthma weakened her lungs. She never asked for healing. At 35, she whispered her final prayer. "Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me, a poor sinner." When her grave was opened in 1909, her body was found intact, again in 1919, again in 1925. Science searched for answers, but the mystery remained. Today she rests in a glass reliquary in Nevers, peaceful, silent, uncorrupted, a reminder that the promise spoken in a muddy grotto still echoes across time. Happiness may not be granted in this world, but in the next, glory awaits.